you.
Okay, you're welcome. So for those of you who would like to stay, I'm going to talk about Our Lady of Fatima, the whole story, the secrets, the messages, and so on. You can feel free to drop off anytime you wish if it's too boring. All right. All right. So I'm going to present a little presentation. Basically, these are just pictures of the Our Lady of Fatima. All right. Okay, can you see the presentation now? I guess. All right, so feel free to ask any questions anytime if I'm unclear, but also there will be questions and answers at the end, so it's up to you. All right, so I'm first of all going to talk about what happened at Fatima, why it is important, and what are the messages of Fatima. All right, so let's begin. So actually, where's Fatima? Fatima is in actually a very tiny town in Portugal. It's in a very rural area. No one has ever heard of it before. And what happened actually didn't happen in Fatima. Actually, it happened in a village that is close to Fatima, which is called Cova de Ivia, that no one heard of. All right. So Fatima is basically the town nearest the place of apparition. It is a little parish church, and it had so the Cova de Ivia actually is about 2 kilometers from Fatima. So the story is about 3 little kids, Lucia, Francisco, and Jacinta. So in 1997, they were like 10 years old, 9 years old, and 7 years old, I believe. So they were very tiny children. All right. So these are the 2 best pictures of them available in the world. Like we cannot find anything else, but these are very good pictures. So I'm going to talk about each of these visionary at the end as well. The stories fascinate me a lot, and they're really, really inspiring. So stay until the end if you want to hear about them. All right. Okay. So the apparition happened first in 1916, when an angel appeared to them several times, actually 3 times, first in spring and then in August. So what happened? So these 3 kids, they were taking their families of sheep to graze on the small plots of land owned by their parents. So they do that very often. Apparently, they didn't have school at that time because it is the rural area. There's no school because they can't even like read or write because of the particular situation they're in at that time. So they ate at lunch on that particular day. They ate at lunch and began to say the rosary, and after they began to play a game with pebbles. And then suddenly there was some strong wind began to shake the trees, but it was such a calm day. But then they began to see in the distance above the trees a light whiter than snow in the form of a young man, quite transparent, and as brilliant as crystal in the rays of the sun. So as actually that was an angel, okay? So as he came near, they were able to see his features. So they were astonished and absorbed. But they said nothing to one another. And then the angel said, "Do not be afraid. I am the angel of peace. Pray with me." So during the course of the year, the angel appeared 2 more times. He identified himself as the guardian angel of Portugal. And he actually taught them a lot of things. In particular, they taught him some prayers, which I'll also talk about in the end of the presentation. He asked them to make sacrifices and to spend time in adoration of the Lord. So basically, he was preparing them for the apparition of Mary the next year. Okay, and then after a year, so these kids have been praying those prayers every day. They were trying to be better kids. And then on the 13th of May in 1917, this happened. So they were again tending sheep on that particular day. Oh, by the way, 1917 was when the World War One was going on. It didn't affect the rural areas of Portugal. The war didn't actually break out in Portugal, but many people were sent to fight the war. So that's the context of the operation. All right. So these kids were having lunch, and they said a rosary. Oh, by the way, when they said the rosary at that time, they they cheated because they make it very short. So that's how they said each decade. All right. So they would say, "Our Father, Hail Mary, Hail Mary, Hail Mary, Hail Mary 10 times, and then glory be." That's it. That's how they say it. Okay. So at that time, they were still like trying to make things easy. All right. Anyway, so after saying the rosary, they were surprised again because they saw a lightning in a clear sky. So they were thinking, maybe a storm is coming, and they begin to take the sheep and return home. But then when they come near an oak tree, they saw another flash of lightning, and then they saw a lady above the tree. So that particular woman was dressed in white, shining brighter than the sun, giving out rays of clear and intense light. She was actually very close to them. It's about like 5 feet away from them. So they were astounded, of course. And then the lady said, "Please don't be afraid of me. I'm not going to harm you." And then Lucia, who is the oldest guy, the oldest kid, she asked, "Where are you from?" And then Mary said, "I come from heaven." So Lucy asked, "Oh, and what do you want of me?" And Mary said, "I want you to return here on the 13th of each month for the next 6 months at the same hour. Later I shall tell you who I am and what it is that I most desire, and I shall return here yet a seventh time." And then Lucy asked, "Shall I go to heaven?" Mary said, "Yes, you will." And then she asked, "What about Jacinta?" "She will go too." "And what about Francisco?" "Francisco too, my dear, but he will have to say many rosaries first." And then Mary said, "Will you offer yourselves to God and bear all the sufferings he sends you in atonement for the sins that offend him and for the conversion of sinners?" Lucia replied, "Oh, we will, we will." Mary said, "Then you will have a great deal to suffer, but the grace of God will be with you and will strengthen you." So the children remained kneeling in the flood of this light until this lady spoke again. She mentioned about the war in Europe, which they didn't really understand. They have no knowledge of. But Mary said, "Say the rosary every day to bring peace to the world and for an end to the war." And afterwards, Mary began to rise slowly in the direction of the east until she disappeared. So after Mary left, Lucia told the other kids not to tell other people because people will probably make fun of them. But the young Francisco was too excited. And it's true, most people um, didn't believe them at all, like including the pastor and most of the parents. But then they would, and then during the course of the month, they would try to say the prayer every day, and then to wait for the next month. All right, now comes June 13th. Oops. All right, so June 13th is a special feast. It's a very important feast in Portugal, which is the feast of St. Anthony. St. Anthony was born in Lisbon, actually. So their parents thought that the church organized a huge festival on this particular feast, so they would think that the kids will forget about the apparition and won't go to the particular place again. But they went anyway. They forget about the festival and went to the hillside. So after they said the rosary, the lights appeared again. Lucy asked again, "Please tell me, madam, what is it that you want of me?" And then Mary told her, I want you to come here on the 13th of every month. I want you to continue to say the rosary every day, and after each one of these mysteries, my children, I want you to pray in this way. O my Jesus, forgive us our sins, save us from the fires of hell. Take all souls to heaven, especially those who are most in need. I also want you to learn to read and write, and later on I will tell you what else I want of you. And Lucy asked again, will you take us to heaven? Mary said, yes, I shall take Jacinta and Francisco soon, but you will remain a little longer. Since Jesus wishes you to make me known and loved on earth, he wishes also for you to establish devotion in the world to my Immaculate Heart. So as I'll say at the end of the presentation, Jacinta and Francisco actually died like 2 years later on, and Lucy actually lived a very long age. All right. So, so this is an abbreviated conversation, all right, between Mary and the children, and also Mary showed in front of her palm, okay, of her right hand, a circle. A circle of thorns that surround her heart, as you can see in the picture. The thorns appear to pierce the heart. So Lucia said that she understood it as the Immaculate Heart of Mary offended by the sins of mankind and is craving reparation. All right, now comes to another month now, July. So every month, more and more people would like come with them to the hillside to witness this particular event. Of course, although other people won't be able to see Mary themselves, but the three kids can. All right, so the apparition of July the 13th would prove to be the most controversial or the most important aspect for Fatima, because this is the day on which Mary told them a secret and asked the children not to share it. All right. So we now say there are 3 secrets, but actually it's a secret in 3 parts. But they basically are the same thing. So the first 2 parts, basically, they're the vision of hell and the prophecy of the future role of Russia and how to prevent it. And the 3rd part was eventually revealed by John Paul II in 2000. So I'll talk about these secrets briefly at the end as well. So so Lucy asked again, what do you want of me? And Mary said, I want you to come back here on the 13th of the next month. Continue to say the rosary every day in honor of Our Lady of the Rosary, to obtain the peace of the world and the end of the war, because only she can obtain it. And Lucia, after getting suggestions from the priest and other people, she told Mary, I would like to ask who you are, and if you will do a miracle so that everyone will know for certain that you appear to us. And then Mary said, you must come here every month, and in October I will tell you who I am and what I want. I will then perform a miracle so that all will believe. And then Mary told them the 3 secrets. Okay. And then come August. So notice it is August the 19th, not the 13th, because on the 13th of August, the mayor of Fatima actually kidnapped these kids. Basically, he told them to get into his car so that he would take them to the priest, but then he actually took him back to his residence where they were imprisoned for 2 days. So they were threatened with lots of words and actions. Actually, they were so scared, but they never recanted their story and never told people about the secret as well. So they actually locked them up with the other criminals. It was terrible, and so that's why Mary didn't appear on the 13th. But luckily, on the 19th, suddenly they saw Mary again. Mary asked them to say the rosary again. I will skip the conversation because it is pretty repetitive. All right, on the on the 13th of September, basically Mary said that she would come with Jesus and Saint Joseph the next month. All right, now is the climax of the story. So of course, every month more and more people come, and of course, because Mary predicted there will be a miracle for all to see, so many people come. Actually, it is estimated like 70,000 or up to 100,000 people actually came to this particular village to try to witness the particular event. Now, the night before, it has been raining all night, so the whole ground and everyone was soaked. Yeah, so all right, and then at that time, Mary appeared to them. Lucy again said, "What do you want of me?" So Mary said, "I want a chapel built here in my honor. I want you to continue to say the rosary every day. The war will end soon, and the soldiers will return to their homes." And then Lucia said, "I have many petitions from many people. We'll grant them." Mary said, "Some I shall grant, and others I must deny. People must amend their lives and ask pardon for their sins. They must not offend our Lord anymore, before he is already too much offended." Lucia said, "And is that all you have to ask?" Mary said, "There is nothing more." Okay, and then suddenly something happened in the sky. So the rain had already stopped by then, but then it was still the whole sky was like filled with clouds, with dark clouds. But suddenly, like the sun burst through the cloud, and everyone saw like this sun, which appears like dimmer as usual, but it is like a soft spinning discs of silver. And then people said, "Look at the sun," and then the sun began to turn into multiple colors, and it began to dance. It's like making zigzag patterns, and it seems to be jumping around. So people began to be very excited. And then, but then the people became frightened because the sun seemed to expand and expand, and it seems to like collapse onto the earth. So people were so afraid, and they were yelling, and some tried to run and so on. But then after a while, this stopped, and then Our Lady, after the Our Lady has disappeared, the three kids saw Saint Joseph with the child Jesus, and Our Lady was robed and then in white with a blue mantle beside the sun. Saint Joseph and the child Jesus was blessing the world, and then they traced the sign of the cross with the hands, and then the whole sky became clear. So
I have a question.
Yes.
Does everyone there saw the sun? Like everyone who was there? It's not just people. It's like many people saw it.
Good question. Yeah. I would say not all, but most. I don't know what's the percentage, but I don't know, maybe 95%. 95% of people saw it. Some saw it slightly differently, and some didn't see anything. So I think, yeah, it has to do with whether people.
Question.
Yep.
Sorry. Question from Anissa. Okay, so if there's is there anyone who took pictures or video or anything? Because there must be a lot of journalists there, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And anyone taking any pictures
so the pictures that are shown here are the few pictures that are available. The photography is not very good at that time. But yes, actually the communists, Portugal was run by communists at that time, so they have tried very hard to suppress this particular event. So the newspaper is very communist and very anti-church. So they sent a lot of reporters to here and try to mock the event. And of course, they saw the whole event, the miracle, and then the next day they actually reported the miracle. So they believed themselves. So the question, yeah. So there are some pictures. There are not a lot of pictures. So these are some of the pictures. I cannot find many other pictures, but I think many of the other pictures I saw are very of low quality because of the quality of the photography equipment at the time. And I think some people try to take pictures of the sun, and I believe like when you take pictures of the sun, you don't see much, you don't see anything special. So basically, the sun didn't physically. It's just like Mary, right? Mary didn't like physically appear to everyone, so she's not physically there, but she made the three kids see this particular image of herself. It's the sun as well. So the sun didn't physically dance, but God made those people see the sun dance. So this is yeah. So I'm not going into the details, but so usually when you take pictures of these particular events, they don't see anything. So okay. So let's move on to I'll talk briefly about the kids, what happened to them afterwards. All right. So so Francisco and Jacinta, they're actually brothers and sister. So these two, okay. So Francisco lived another 2 years, so those 2 years are actually very. He made so many sacrifices. He would. Oh, by the way, Francisco actually never heard Mary. Okay, this may be shocking to you, but the two other kids did. All right, so I think it has to do with the fact that like he has been a mischievous boy, I think, so he's not always in his best behavior. And so he could not actually hear Mary, but so he got all the other she got all the other secrets from Lucia and Jacinta. But then he changed so much. Like he would offer a lot of things that he would not like and offer it to God. And then of course he became very sick and then died 2 years later. He was only 10 when he died. He is actually my favorite saint right now because if you read about what he said and how he offered himself for God, he really made me cry. So I heard a 2-hour lecture on him when I was in the States. It was really touching. And anyway, so Jacinta, what about Jacinta? So after Francisco died, so we're left with Lucia and Jacinta. And Jacinta lived and then died the next year actually, okay, after Francisco. So again, Jacinta is a much better kid than Francisco actually. She's much better behaved, and the sacrifices that she made is actually much greater than Francisco. Yeah, these two kids are really surprisingly, like given their age, I don't understand why like they could be so close to God. So I really encourage you to find out more about them. They are really good models. Like I can learn so much from them, like, even though they are like 10 years old only, right? It's really amazing. All right, and so they were beatified in 2000, and then they were canonized 3 years ago in 2017. So pray to them. All right, what about Lucia? So remember Lucia, so Mary told her that she would have to stay on earth longer. It turned out that she had to stay on earth like for 18 more years. She became a nun, and actually after she became a nun, that was a time of suffering. Actually, she suffered so much, you cannot believe it. Like I read a book, a very thick book about her. I didn't believe it. I mean, she's a visionary, right? So everyone should respect her or whatever. But actually, she suffered so much in the convent from people or from illness or whatever. Do you know who gave her the most like suffering? It is the priest. Okay, the priest like thought that they would know better, and then they would often harass her. But anyway, I'm not going into details. All right, so she was present at the beatification of Jacinta and Lucia. So and Francisco, and she died in 2005. So she lived to an age of 98. So yeah, she did suffer a lot. So hopefully she will be beatified very soon, I think, and canonized as well. So she really suffered a lot, and she has made like the Immaculate Mary known to the whole world. She has done a lot. Okay, I'm now going to talk about the secret very quickly. All right. So the first part of the secret basically is a vision of hell, and they see very disgusting creatures in hell, demons and souls, and giving out groans of pain and despair. So Mary told them to basically to spread the devotion of the Immaculate Hearts, so that many souls will be saved and there will be peace. So Mary was basically trying to tell the world that hell really exists. Okay, so I know many Catholics who don't believe in hell, seriously. They thought that like God is all good. So he won't make people suffer, right? But it is us who choose hell actually by the actions that we do. God didn't want us to be in hell. Anyway, so that's the first secret. The second secret is basically he told the kids that World War I will end soon, but if we continue to offend God, there will be another world war. And before that happens, strange light will lit up the whole sky, and then the punishment will come. By the way, that strange light happened in 1938, when it is like the aurora borealis will actually, it's visible like basically in many places that usually won't see the aurora. It's so bright, and then of course the war will happen the next year. Anyway, so she predicted that Russia will spread the errors throughout the world, the Pope will suffer much, and nations will disappear. That happened, of course. So Mary said to prevent this, like the Pope has to consecrate Russia to the Immaculate Hearts, and ask all the people to make a communion, to receive communion of reparation on the first Saturday of each month. And that's why we have the first Saturday devotion. If you don't know it, Google it. All right. But the third secret was only released to the public in 2000. I'll go through this very quickly. Basically, they saw an angel set fire on the whole world, and there was a steep mountain. The bishops, priests, and religious go up the mountain, and at the top there's a cross. So the Pope passes through a city half in ruins. At the top, he was killed by soldiers with bullets, together with other priests and lay people as well. They were killed afterwards. And two angels were busy gathering the blood and sprinkle the blood to people who are on their way, okay? So it's very graphic. So what does it mean though? So the first and second secret are very clear, right? Like the third secret, it seems to be very symbolic, okay? So what does it mean? So basically what happened is that on the anniversary of Our Lady of Fatima, 1981, of course, John Paul II was assassinated. So the Turkish assassin shot, I think, 2 bullets right into him, and then so the path of the bullet actually was so close to the heart, like people didn't understand how he didn't die, but of course he survived. And it was only after this incident that John Paul II asked that the secrets be brought to him, and then he read the message, I think, when he was in hospital, all right? And then understood maybe the message is talking about him, right? The next year, on the same day, he went to Fatima together with the bullets. You see this crown? Actually, he placed the bullets under the base of the top of the crown. You can see the bullet. So he put the bullet there, and then offer it. So we can still see this crown if you go to the museum in Fatima. So yeah, so some people think that the third secret is about John Paul II, and those symbolic images may not be literal. Many people believe that, but I don't. I think this is an event that hasn't happened yet, because the first and second secrets are very clear, and this one should be clear too. So this is something that may happen in the future that we haven't seen yet. Anyway, okay. So actually, I'm going to share different prayers because these prayers are so good. I really love them, and I want to share them because these were taught by the angel himself, and two prayers that were taught by Mary herself. So that's why these are so good. I really love this one. The first one, we call the angel's prayer usually. It talks about faith, hope, and charity, basically. So please practice these prayers because these prayers were said by the children every day, and it benefits us as well. And then there's another one taught by the angel. I'll let you read yourself later on. I'll share this slide with Billy, and Billy will post it in his website. And then there are prayers taught by Mary herself. So whenever you do something and you see something unpleasant, or when you want to do something that is not so pleasant, say this prayer. Oh Jesus, it's for love of you, for the conversion of sins, and in preparation for the sins committed against Immaculate Mary. This is a very good prayer. And then, of course, this Fatima prayer we say at the end of each decade was taught by Mary herself. And notice there are some words that are different. So this is the original. So I don't know why the English version that we pray right now is different. For instance, we have "who are most of your mercy," but those three words didn't appear in the original words. So in the Chinese version, we don't actually say "of your mercy." So yeah, this is the original version, by the way. Okay, so that's all my presentation. I've gone over time. So do visit Fatima sometime. It is really important. I think the Fatima is continued after the assassination of John Paul II, right? 40 days after, what happened, right? Our Lady began to appear in Medjugorje, basically. So Medjugorje is basically a continuation of Fatima. So they said the same messages actually. So they're both important, right? So do research on them. I have some. So this is a very good website on Fatima. Read about the details of the apparition in great details, because I didn't read all the conversations between Mary and the children. So you can find out more about them from this website. And of course, there's a new movie coming up. It was supposed to be released today before, but then because of the pandemic, it's now released on eve of the Assumption. So there, you can search for the trailer of this movie, Fatima trailer, and then you can watch it. So I'm really looking forward to this movie. And that's all. So now we have some time for questions if you wish. Going once, going twice.
Question.
Okay.
I think I know the answer, but I'd like you to share it with everyone. Why did the mayor kidnap the kids?
Okay.
Before that vision.
Okay. So again, the whole government, basically we know that he's a Freemason first of all. You know what Freemasons are, right? Like, yeah, basically they are is a secret society that is very anti-church. But basically the whole government, like, it's communist, right? And then they really don't like the church to stir up any commotions or any events. So they were very afraid of the whole thing. They don't want people together, basically. The communists like fear people together. So that's some of the reasons, I guess. So they try to threaten the kids so badly. But fortunately, that was the only time that they try to threaten the kids. So yeah.
Not a question. Just wanted to show you guys the candle that we lit. I don't know if it's visible from
Yeah.
here. So here it's basically Our Lady of Fatima. There's her face.
Oh, nice.
And I don't know if you guys saw the children on the other side.
Nice. You went there?
Oh, we didn't. This was a gift.
Okay.
You can take
Yeah.
us there, Gabriel.
Sure. Yeah, it's really easy to go to. If you go to Lisbon and then you can just take a train to go there. Yeah, it's worth it. All right, if there are no more questions, then we'll conclude.
So thank you, Gabriel. It was great. I have recorded the whole presentation. I'll put it on the website as well. So for those who wants to listen to Gabriel again or look at his face again, go ahead and you can always check it out. Yeah, I think it's a really good workshop, and we should do more about this. I mean, at least Anissa now is sitting beside me and listening to it. So he is great. Thank you, Gabriel.
All right. Yep, and just to emphasize, all right. So Mary's main message are not the secrets, all right. The main message is that everyone should say the rosary every day, okay. So do that and learn the prayers. So those are most important things. The secrets are secondary, I would say.